everybody, and welcome back to some cheeky Red Dead Online. I seem to be in the lands of Am I in Strawberry? I am in Strawberry. What am I doing all the way over here? Dailies. Did I miss a daily yesterday? Oh, you jammy git. Burdock. Boats. Posse infighting. Posse's joined. Wild boar. I'm going to assume making my own posse doesn't count as joining a posse. So, is there a gunsmith here? No, there isn't. I'll tell you what, let's go to the camp. Let's go and see where the camp's ended up. I do like Strawberry. Strawberry's a cool place, man. Wonder if we'll ever get a game where it's, you know, all of these, like, houses and things. Look at this. Look at the woodwork on the bridge as well. That's mad. Actually really cool. Yeah, I wonder if we'll ever get, you know, like a GTA where you can actually go into a lot of the buildings and a lot of the shops and stores. I wonder if they'll ever, I wonder if technology will ever move as far forwards as allowing that. It'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Sort of brings the world to life. I suppose the argument there against that though is the amount of work that goes into it. Would anyone ever care? You know, when you're running along a road in GTA Online at 1,000 miles an hour, does anyone give a toss? Probably not, right? So we haven't got a camp. What? Camp, set camp location, small camp. Let's hit the Great Plains again. Seems to be good hunting. Your camp is being pitched. Your camp is being pitched. Your camp is being pitched. That doesn't look good, does it? Yeah, I reckon that's not. I reckon that's a fail state when it does that, you know. You're right, Yessie. How you doing, mate? How's things? Yeah, that doesn't look good at all. Yeah, it's asked me to choose another camp location. Look, where else is a good one? What the hell? What an idiot. What an absolute idiot. So we were just talking a minute ago about how well, yesterday we were talking about how nice most of the players are. And there we have a complete moron. What an absolute bellend. What an absolute bellend. I mean, you know, if you're riding around, I mean, it's clearly I was AFK, right? I mean, quite clearly. What an absolute little dick rubber. Yes, we were talking yesterday, weren't we, about how nice the online components of this game are. Then someone literally... That's twice I've started a stream and we've had like a tiny little test... You know, clearly a big, fat, overweight, stinky BO, piss and shit stained, pyjama wearing, overweight fucking player. Probably living in some slum pit fucking apartment. Who's playing as a hot chick, but obviously doesn't want to risk the age, sex, location, role play out on the real internet. So just play as a hot chick in a video game, but actually has got major mother issues, I should imagine. I mean, you can get it when you're riding along on a horse, can't you? You know, people are active, you're moving, but just to attack someone that's just sitting there, I mean, fuck me. What a fucking knob. Right, let's go. I can't even remember what I was doing now. Was I trying to, I was trying to fast travel. No, we were trying to set a camp up, weren't we? Sorry. Let's go for a camp. They didn't even hang around, look, the little fucking pricks, though. If you're gonna fight, at least, you know, at least fucking stay in the fight, you fucking scumball. Right. I love it. Camp properties, camp. Set camp location. Let's have another go at the Great Plains. Let's see what happens. Your camp is being pitched. Your camp is being pitched. Your camp is being pitched. It's not going to happen, is it? It's just not going to work. Let's see if that dickhead's still around. How you doing, Tim? You're all right, mate. Good morning, Rosie. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any spots. I'd say, what's the best way to move lobby? Is there any way to, like, come out of the game and go back into the game? No, it's not working, is it? Gap 2 through to Cumberland Forest, maybe? That's okay. Camp is being pitched. Your camp is being pitched. I don't think there's any room on this lobby. Yeah, he's not too bad. He's doing alright this week, yeah. Wonder why this is not working. I've had it a few times when we're out and about on the old off the stream, but I think it's just because all the slots are taken. But normally it tells you they're taken by graying them out. Look, you see how Cumberland's grayed out now. Great Plains isn't, which makes me think there's either someone else trying to get in there, or I don't really get that. It's like it's trying to pitch it, but it can't quite do it. Are we too close to the fast travel play? Oh, too close? I don't know. Let's try it. I don't think so, because I think the New Hanover one's just cancelled out. I've got it to the butcher. No, it just failed again. Look. Here's someone shooting. Yeah, all pitches. Oh, hang on. Your camp is being pitched. Not flickering like it was before, is it? How you doing, Shades? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. No, it's the same thing, look. How you doing, Starscream? You alright, quiet? So hit escape to go online and pick free... hit escape to go online. Pick free roam again. Oh, you mean come out to the menu? Yeah. I just wonder if there's like a quicker way to do it. I kind of want to stay because I want to see if I can find that little prick that just took me down. So, what do you say? Online options. So I can't do it from the menu. I actually have to come out and quit, do I? Come out, quit game. Quit that. Oh, I have to come all the way back out. Well, that's a bit fucking wank, innit? Try go. Yes, it is. To be honest, you know what? I actually didn't realise it was Friday today, Starscream, until I was sort of like about to sit down at the PC. Oh, and that reminds me, actually, we may have... I've got a Virgin Media technician coming around, but I may also have a Virgin Media network engineer coming around, which is like the holy grail. Getting a tech around isn't that difficult. They'll send a tech around any old drop of the hat if you know what buttons to press and what to say. But getting a network engineer out is a completely different kettle of fish. So fingers crossed. Jesus, that was loud. Because obviously all the field techs can do is really just test your line from obviously say from tap panel, well, from exchange to tap panel and then through to your home and your router. And there's not a lot they can do with that. I mean, if there's a bit of noise on the line, or you know, you've got some power levels that need adjusting, then yeah, they can do that. But if there's an issue beyond that local exchange, obviously a field tech can't do anything about it. So they did, because I was quite adamant that there's no point sending someone around. Guess when network engineers finish. This tells you something else about Virgin Media, right? All network engineers of Virgin Media stop working at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Their network engineering team does not work after 4 o'clock. When's peak hours on the internet start? 4 o'clock onwards, right? In the UK. That's when, you know, the kids normally leave school between 3 and half 3. At half hours travel time. 4 o'clock, kids are coming home. Moms and dads are coming home. Carers are coming home. People are finishing work. It's a fucking joke, innit? So I did say, like, look, you know, they said, oh, we want to come around tomorrow. Obviously, we'll need to come around before 4 o'clock because that's when the network engineer will finish. I was like, well, that's no fucking point then, is it? I've already made it really clear that 4 o'clock is when the issue starts. The only other time you're going to get to see it is if you come into the house before 10 o'clock. So they did say they'll send someone around before... Well, they said about 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 8:30. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Right, let's see if we can set camp again. This isn't going too well today, is it? Camp, size and location, small camp. Let us have a look. Let us have a look. Let us have a look. I was kind of hoping to test something today. In fact, I was going to talk about that shortly. You know the fading in and out wagons that we get? Oh, it's there. It's actually there, look. It is actually there, look. Right, so let's go to the fast travel point. And let's head over to the camp. So yes, I was there was an interesting Reddit article. Well, I'd say an article, a post about the weird wagon textures, and they reckon it was something to do with some of the settings that are being basically being lied to about with GeForce Experience. So I'm using GeForce Experience, as you've just seen, using GeForce Experience today to get some data on that. So hopefully, as we travel around today, you're gonna have to bear with me as I make a couple of time stamps just on the OBS, so I can have a look on the video on the playback, if you like, to see when we've got wagons fading in and out. It is annoying. It's about the only graphical glitch I've come across in this game. You know, obviously it's a big game. There's going to be the odd little glitch, but it's the start resupply mission. Oh, because the goods are full. Goods are full. Shit. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll do a little bit of hunting just to top up the thing, ready for when we do the delivery. And get my hat back as well. Okay, Peaky Blinders hat. You're right, Osen. You wouldn't get your hopes up, Grump. Also, good morning. Well, it doesn't get any better than that, Osen. I mean, the beauty of it is we have been contacted by the chief execs team itself, which is a very small team. And it's like the lady said, it has to get resolved. It can't not get resolved with them. Now, if resolved means they hold their hands up and say, like, look, we don't understand what's happening here. We can't fix this for your connection. The resolution is that they'll have to let me out of contract. So, I mean, the beauty of it is whatever happens at some point over the next few weeks, you know, I'm not expecting a fix overnight, but I think over the next few weeks, we will have the option of leaving Virgin and looking at another provider. The sad thing is, having spoke to basically 4 of the potential providers, I don't think I can get internet in this house on my old copper lines that's adequate for streaming. Oh my god, can you see the amount of deer up there? They are everywhere, man. Oh, Jesus balls. I spend all day, every day, looking for some pronghorns. Today, I can one of them is like more than I've ever seen in one locale, just sitting there. Look, what's that there? 3-star whitetail buck. Shit. That was not a clean kill. That was a waste. That was a waste. I should have waited. I should have just mowed it down with a bloody bow and arrow. It's just I don't really like doing that, to be honest. Yeah, that is not a clean kill, but we'll go and finish him off just so he's not in any pain like that. Oh, what the hell? How did that miss? I can't actually scan any faster than him. He's that far in front or that close to me. Oh, I feel sorry for this thing. Imagine how it feels. There we go. Stop using the rolling block. That'll be a 1-star. Let's pick her up, take him back. Pick her up and take him back. Oh, when you hit on when you hit escape, there's an option that says online. Yeah, I've got that. Oh yeah, sorry. Oh, you mean this? Oh, sorry, mate. Online there. I just hit free roam again. Oh, thank you, Quiet. Cheers. I did wonder. I kind of figured there must be another way of doing it. Thank you. Nice one. I keep thinking that's escape. This is what happens when I play on a controller. I'm having to second guess what all the PC buttons are. Thanks, Quiet.
Hello?
Yeah, I mean, I am still. I mean, that's the beauty of it. At least they're listening to me. You know, I'd be quite happy if they came in and it turned out to be, you know, after. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I've been asking for another modem. The cyclic issue we get, you know, it could. I don't think it is, but it could be down to like overheating on their router. I mean, it shouldn't be because I'm using my own router now, which is doing all the work. You know, but it doesn't have to be heat related. It could be power related. You know, there might be an issue with a capacitor in there. that's, you know, psychically failing or something, which is causing, you know, really brief momentary drops. And the guy that I spoke to yesterday, which is essentially the area manager for their field team and network team, it's like he said, you know, have you been offered another router? And I was like, well, yes, I have, you know, but I did say multiple times on the forums, like, you know, just because I had one router when the problems started showing, and then you sent me another router and the problems are still showing, doesn't mean it's not the router. You know, there are such things as back-to-back failures, and it was quite interesting because he was actually, said to me yesterday, well, let's at least try, you know, we'll come around in the morning, we'll try another router. And he was saying one of his field techs had been out just last week. There was an issue. They knew it was router based before they even turned up. They switched over another router, and that router had another issue on it, and that was brand new, straight out of the packaging. Like, so it's like I said, it does happen. You know, like anything. You know, there's millions of these routers being produced across the UK for all the Virgin Media users. You know, it's. And it's like you said as well, you know, without spilling the beans, some of them are obviously, if you like, renovated versions. You know, there's a fault with it, send it back, wiggle a couple of wires, put a new circuit in there, whatever it's going to be. Yeah, they're not all brand spanking you off the production line, are they? You know, you've played Far Cry too much when you hear a hawk squeak and think, oh shit, where is it? I quite look forward to playing some other games at the minute, mate, because obviously the chances the unfortunate thing is one or two things will happen if we can't stick with Virgin Media. From what I can see, I either won't be able to stream. I mean, I really don't think streaming is going to be viable. We'd have to drop the bit rate so low. Oh, is that two wagons coming in? Oh, I better get away from them because they'll see me as an enemy. I have a golden rule. If I don't want to engage, I run directly away from big red dots because I know what we're like when we're playing, and it's absolutely must kill on sight, isn't it? Yeah, so I'm gonna really struggle to get something that provides me with adequate speed. See, a lot of them offer like up to say 17 or 18 meg, which is great, you know, up to, but you can go on the forums and have a look for people that are in your postcode area, and they're not even getting close to that. You know, they're getting, you know, especially during peak times, they're getting as low as like 3 up, which is, you know, that's just like terrible. And of course, installation times as well. You know, it's not like you just sign up to a new provider and they come around tomorrow morning and install it as well. One of the ones I was looking at, I got a 4-week lead time in January. But for new customers in January, which is ridiculous, really. Well, you say that, donkey. You say that. I mean, Virgin Media. See, the thing is, the Virgin Media line is actually the best I can get in the UK. I can't get a better connection in terms of speed. The problem is for some reason, something's happened somewhere, mate. That just means my I'm getting dropped packets, you see. See, this is the problem. There's no guarantee to... See, they can all offer you speeds, but none of them will ever promise you good latency or zero drop packets. You know, they just won't offer you that. So speed just doesn't matter. I literally couldn't give a toss about actual speed as long as it's more than 10 down and more than 10 up. That's all I need. The 10 up would be more than adequate as long as it's a solid 10. I mean, to be honest, that probably wouldn't work. We would have to drop our bit rate for 10. I'd probably be really after something more like 15. So, but yeah, nowhere else is going to offer anywhere near the speeds I get. And the problem is, although I'll almost certainly get a better latency, although having said that, I've been running Pingplotter. My latency through to the first hop on the path through to the London 1 or 2 ingest servers, my latency is like, it's about 15 milliseconds through to first hop, which is fucking god tier. I mean, that is amazing. The problem is the packet loss. So will they like BT or Zen or Sky or PlusNet or whatever it is might offer me potentially less drop packets? There's no way they can match the speed of Virgin Media. Now, like I said, speed doesn't actually matter as long as it's more than 10. But like I said, you know, going on the forums, a lot of these other providers that aren't on fiber, they struggle to maintain, in some cases, even 3-4 up during peak time. That's the problem. Yeah, a lot of people recommend Zen, but it's like I said yesterday, Donkey, just as many people don't recommend Zen. It's ISPs, mate. It's not like buying a car, where a car's a car. This is the fallacy of ISPs. This is why you really need to do your research. An ISP in one area is victim to the infrastructure that's installed there. Your geographic location to an exchange, you know, it could be massively over congested. It could be terrible wiring with loads of noise ingress and water issues. There's no such thing as a good ISP. The only way you can rate an ISP really is in customer service, but even then, a customer service means nothing if it's not solvable. It's just that simple. So it makes no difference. It's why we always... I've had some fantastic experiences with Virgin Media. The problem with Virgin Media is when it's a problem that isn't resolved by turning it on and off again, or an engineer coming out and sorting out a little bit of a power level on a router, or which can be done remotely most of the time anyway. They're useless. They are so oversubscribed, and obviously all the help support isn't even in the UK. So you've got a huge language barrier between you and them. 9 times out of 10, you know, it results in nothing. I've already submitted my formal complaints to the CEO, to the chief exec team, which is regarding the recorded phone calls about Wi-Fi extenders. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens about that. This is what you've been recording. They actually said what? So you've been recording our technicians or our tech support? I said yes, I have. In fact, it's not just me. I said there's 4 other people who've been doing it as well. So we'll be sending all that information through to you. And it was quite funny because you can see, like, you can tell they wanted to ask, did you ask permission? We absolutely did in all occasions. We not only asked, but we also said, are you okay to give us permission, or would you rather us speak to your manager, your on-shift manager? And they all basically said, yes, no problem, sir, no problem at all. Or no problem, madam. It's perfectly okay to record her. So, be interested to see if we've blown the lid on that fucking little corrupt shenanigans as well. Scary, honestly. Virgin Media, man. It's they are a funny. In fact, I wonder if they've received. They must have received all that. How you doing, Hashi? How's Div 2 doing? I actually jumped on yesterday, Hashi. I actually booted up the Division 2 very briefly yesterday, and instantly got a crash. It's still as stable as ever. Admittedly, after that, it didn't crash. I think it was a first install crash because I don't use the Uplay overlay, which it doesn't like. And I thought, here we go again. But I didn't even dare check left and right sound, Hashi. No, well, there is dicoid, but it's not everywhere. Yeah, it's not everywhere. We've got hyper optic and places like that, which are the 1,000 meg connections. But they're primarily been done into large residential areas, like sort of, for example, apartment blocks in about 6 cities across the UK. But again, it's nothing to do with speed. I literally have no need for that speed. It's a complete waste of money. The speed does not matter for streaming. It really doesn't. You've got a bare minimum, and anything above that is a complete waste of time. In fact, I could even argue it's putting additional stress potentially. See, this is the issue. Is everyone's downloading at speeds they just don't need to be downloading at. You know, the over-congestion during peak hours is ridiculous. If everyone was just capped at more realistic speeds, I mean, who the fuck needs 1,000 down? I'll tell you who. Fucking no one. I wouldn't need to pay for that. I need, like I said, if I could get, I mean, to be honest, 20 down and 20 up, fucking more than happy with it. I'd rather have more up. I'd rather have a little buffer on the up. We must have a posse doing like multiple runs or something. Look. Goods run, and a goods run. I could play Merry Havoc with them. Are they coming into my camp? Very brave of them. You don't need 1,000 for HD though, do you? You don't need it. You only need 25 meg down for 4K, mate. 25. You don't even need 100. Oh, dearie me. It's all about numbers. This is the advertising trap we all fall into. The bigger the number, the better. It's just not. It's just pointless. But most of our hard drives can't even fucking handle the fucking read-write speeds at that. By the time they've all been put through various shitty mobos and things. You're right, Nacho Foot. Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it, Nacho Foot? Yeah, I was thinking that. So someone's stolen the whole shipment, haven't they? So it's scattered to the 3 corners of the server. Yeah, Zen are actually supposed to be very good customer service. It's the one consistent thing that you get with them. However, unfortunately, like anything, when they become the victim of their own success, you'll start noticing that long-term customers, if you read the reviews over the last 6 months, they're not saying they're worse. They're just saying, you know, there's clearly... I mean, Zen are really old in the UK. People think Zen are new. Zen are a really old service provider. But, you know, because word's getting out, you know, people are starting to see these issues with Virgin Media and these bigger ISPs. And people start looking for alternatives. And, of course, Zen has always had very, very positive reviews from, you know, the governing bodies that look at customer satisfaction. And, of course, what happens is people then start moving across to them. And then, of course, Zen have to make a decision. You know, do we now start maximising profits? Do we start investing back into our customer support teams? And, you know, the money talks, doesn't it? So it's like anything, you know, you become a victim. As you get more market share, you almost become a victim of what got you there in the first place. Classic example is Shop2, which is an online gaming retailer here in the UK. Nearly everyone started going to Shop2 because they were quite often delivering games early. Now, that's naughty. I mean, they were in direct breach, especially with games like Call of Duty, and they actually got quite heavily penalised for it. But as soon as Shop2 stopped delivering games early, because people, I mean, at one point, they actually, I can't remember who it was, actually refused to send them games. I can't remember which game studio or what publisher said, we're not sending you the games because we know you're going to send them out early. And then people just, I stopped using Shop2 years back. The only thing Shop2 had going for them, really, was fast delivery and possibly early delivery. They weren't even that cheap. All their bonus schemes got watered down. Their chief exec is an absolute twat. And more importantly, their customer service down there. Oh my lord. Oh my lordy lord. Yeah, this is it. I mean, that's wonderful. You know, that's great, Dyko. But you see, therein lies the problem, you see. Therein lies the problem. It's not helping the infrastructure. You know, you start downloading something at 1,000 down, that's putting massive load on your local panels and exchange, which means now, you know, everybody else that routes through there is now fucked. Whereas if everybody just stuck to a reasonable speed of like 250 or something, we wouldn't get over congestion. At some point, mate, you know, that you're banging into a tap panel in your local area, right? Now, if everybody suddenly ends up on 1,000 down and everybody starts taking advantage of that simultaneously, you're going to get over congestion, mate. You just don't need that sort of speed, dude. But it sells. This is the problem with Virgin Media. This is the concern. You know, all they're cared about is positive advertising, and if they can keep putting the speeds up and up and up and up, even though it's degrading their network stability, they don't care, because advertising rights to claim to be the fastest ISP in the UK is worth its weight in gold to them. Because to the average consumer, all they see is, oh, it's really fast. Oh, it's fast internet. What they don't know is that you're suffering from massive packet loss, that latency spikes will happen during periods of overcongestion. Your entire, you know, the jitter on the lines, the entire line becomes less stable. If we actually knew what we were talking about as consumers, we wouldn't be going for these ridiculous speeds that we don't need and putting pressure on what is already a congested local exchange. Now, obviously, it depends on where you are in the UK. So some areas aren't over congested. It makes no difference. You know, you might be that one person that gets away with fucking murder on it. But there's only so much these exchanges can handle. You know, this isn't a magic fucking void of bandwidth that can just go on and on forever, you see. Well, if you're running on the same connection, exactly, Rosie. I mean, here you go. I mean, you know, if you've got 4 or 5 people all in a house all watching Netflix at 4K, then obviously you're going to need a much higher download speed. But like I said, normally Netflix runs at about 25 meg down for 4K. So even if, you know, 100 meg, you're gonna want to double that for a bit of headroom. I mean, how many people, honestly, you've got, like, I mean, obviously there's always going to be exceptions, but how many people are honestly watching, you know, simultaneously 4K connections on Netflix in a household, you know? Of course, there are going to be some people, but it's more the exception than the norm these days, isn't it? It certainly would be in the UK. Most people are still watching at 1080 with Netflix, and not only just because you have to pay more for the 4K content.
I mean that fast as you can.
Not to mention, a lot of people still watch on Wi-Fi. I mean, most of our TVs in the UK, certainly within my circle of friends, they're not Ethernet connected like PCs are. They tend to be on Wi-Fi. Now, getting a good solid 25 down, especially on the other side of the house, is not that great. You know, you need some pretty freaking good speeds to be getting a consistent 25 down on Wi-Fi. You know, you're going through a concrete wall or two, you know what I mean?
Slow day today? I'm getting right back to it.
You're right, Trump. How are you doing, fella? You only need to get VR, Daiko. You just need, you ain't need to worry about it. I mean, there's a whole new world waiting for you outside of HD. How you getting on with it, Ashley? What did you do to the gaming fairy, mate? It seems to hate you at the moment. Runs sweetie for me a lot. I think it always does on first boot when I turn off. If I load a game through Uplay, and you'll notice if you turn off the overlay, because I like the Steam overlay. I launch a lot of my games through Steam, and I've always liked the Steam overlay. One, because of the Steam controller, for example, and secondly, also for screenshots. It's just nice to have all my screenshots in one place, even though it's a really terrible screenshot compression with Steam, to be fair. But yeah, so I tend to have to turn off the Uplay on screen, and when you boot it up, Hash, it always says not recommended because they want you to be part of the Uplay ecosystem, don't they, when you're playing the game? So nearly every time I install a Uplay game and tell it not to install the Uplay overlay, it tends to crash on first boot. So it's nothing untoward, but it did make me chuckle. It really did. I saw it says people currently playing this game. It got is it Uncle Rampy or something like that, which I think is you, right, Hashi, or something like that, mate. I thought, oh cool, Hashi's on, and lo and behold, I booted into the game. I started a new character. I made this right old jug-eared dude, mate. I've never seen a bloke with ears like it, mate. And I had to go back to that first little playthrough, if you like, where you're going up to. Is it the White House you're going? I can't remember. I didn't get that far. It's just a bunch of dudes and you're sort of shooting big red barrels and blowing them up and all that kind of stuff. And then my Xbox batteries died, and I'd recently just switched some new batteries over to the VR handsets. So I thought I'll wait for the current ones to charge rather than opening a brand new pack. And before I knew it, the night had disappeared and the girlfriend had a problem, and oh Jesus, mate. So I didn't really get a chance to get onto it, but I'll tell you what, it's a good looking game, mate. I mean, I've maxed everything out. I've turned off all the stupid things like chromatic aberration, the vignettes. I mean, why the hell people play those games with that crap turned on is beyond me. So yeah, it's I tell you what, they have massively cleaned the image quality. I mean, I'm not kidding you, mate. I went back to, I always do, whenever I do new reshade settings, I always do screenshots, like really high resolution screenshots, even though the game might not be playable at that resolution. And include my reshade settings with URL links from an Excel spreadsheet. And I took a really high-res screenshot yesterday with no graphical settings changed, just everything maxed out apart from the stupid stuff like I said, chromatic aberration, vignette, etc, etc, etc. And I tell you what, mate, I'm not kidding you, Hashi. The raw image is not that much worse than my heavy reshade profile back from when I first started playing, dude. In fact, I knew something was up because the second I booted the game up, it obviously had remembered my old graphical setting because of the way that I install. And is it saying drop the mailbag? That's not. Oh, sorry. This is me being a stupid idiot. I just didn't realize I'm on the clock here, ain't I? This is a delivery point. It said we have changed the brightness settings. We have changed the brightness settings. Please ensure you double check this before you continue. And I thought that it always seemed too bright, even if you drop the slider down as low as you can. So they have done some real work on overall image quality with the Division 2. It has never looked so beautiful. The colours are popping. There's a really nice colour temperature to everything. The actual hue and saturation, especially of the vegetation, it's nigh on perfect, dude. I mean, someone really knows their stuff down there, mate. To me, it's almost as if they've jacked in a reshade DLL on there. Very impressed. Very impressed. It is a night and day difference to what the game looked like raw before. You just be able to download a game in a couple of hours. Exactly, dude. Exactly. Exactly. You alright, Mario? How you doing, bro? You're not a fan of Sky then, Trump, no? Yeah, it's a good idea, and it just don't like a lot of the guys do this. You see, this is what I was saying about how they always swore they'd never go digital, and they nearly all have. And what they do is they go to the pub or play like say Overwatch or Siege or something on a Friday night, right?
Host, and you've waited too long for this moment.
Thank you for the host, Toothy. And they get to, well, they all come back. I haven't had a few bevers or whatever it is, and they always pop on something silly like Rocket League on a Friday night. And they have a chat and they talk about what are we going to play tomorrow, any new games coming out. And every now and again, there's a new game coming out that they all fancy playing. And that's what they do. They buy it digitally on the Friday night. Although they swore they'd never do this. They swore, no, we're always going to buy physical copies of the games, blah, 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 blah. And some of them still do, but the majority buy digital now. And that's it. They buy it on a Friday night, having had a few beers, you know, little less less pressure there after a few drinks, innit, you know. No buyer's remorse, fuck it. What the fuck did we buy last night? And then they leave it to download over the evening. And then it's all ready to play before the, you know, the Saturday football match. And they're all happy, mate. Yeah, it's exactly what they do, mate. Don't have to worry about fucking over the internet during the day or anything. I tell you what I did watch, and for those of you that are even remotely interested, I mean, I can understand why the Division 2 community is absolutely up in arms right now. With, I think, what they're calling the Loot 2.0 changes. Grampy Hashi is me, some buggers nicked Hashi, Hashashi, and Uncle Hashi. So it's Grampy Hashi, that was it, yeah. We'll have them. We'll hunt them down. We'll find out their IPs, mate. We'll send the Peaky Grinders round. Sort them out, mate. How you doing, Toothy? You alright, fella? Good morning, Clavin. How you doing, Clavin? You alright, fella? So yes, Loot 2 is, oh my god, it's such a change. You can understand why people that have stuck with the game for like thousands of hours and all their gear is essentially about to get re-rolled are not happy, but at the same time I can also totally understand why the devs are making the changes they're making. I mean, it's a bit easy for me to sit here and say, like, I'm kind of looking forward to the changes, but that's largely because I haven't worked my ass off over the last year, you know, getting some amazing equipment sets. But exactly what I said all along, wasn't it, after that patch, that it had just become so ridiculously convoluted, the whole loot thing. Now, some of us kind of liked it. Some of us kind of, you know, we don't mind whipping out a spreadsheet and, you know, we know what stacks and we know what it stacks to and we know where, you know, the drop-off point is and, you know, diminishing returns on stats. But there was nothing to tell you that in the game. You were either a major Division Reddit keyboard warrior following all the latest tracking and testing, or you were just a casual gamer. And if you were a casual gamer, you hadn't got a fucking chance in hell of coming up with what would be deemed a really good build. You might think you've got a good build, but actually it'll be running like, you know, at 50% efficiency. You know, if you knew that game, you could come up with builds that were like absolutely freaking god mode. And of course the problem is, it's like they actually said it. I think they even said it, didn't they? I mean, I was going to listen to it more as a podcast, so I was a bit busy. But the state of the game stream, I think it was on the 15th of Jan. I'm sure one of the devs even said so. I mean, I'm not going to quote, but something very similar to obscure statistics or something like that. You know, no player out there knows it because there's nothing in the game to tell it you. So either you're a big follower of the YouTube and the Reddit content creators and you know, mathematicians and statistic warriors and all the rest of it, or you'd never have known. You'd never have known that actually all those points you've just put into like crit damage actually aren't doing anything, or you know, you've gone past the soft cap and things like that. And you know, Loot 2.0 fundamentally changes that. I mean, the biggest change is talents. You can only now get a talent either on a backpack or a chest piece. I mean, straight away, that's fucking completely game changing, mate. You can only have 2 active talents, technically, gear talents. I mean, what the fuck, dude? So, I get it. I can understand why people are both happy and unhappy, and we'll just have to see how it works out, won't we? You got the man flu, Toofy. Oh, mate. Oh, that's a shit way to start the new year, dude. What, is it like... I mean, is it man flu as in you just got a sniffle? Or is it actually man flu, dude? You know, like real man flu. You might try new permadeath mode. See, I'd love to try permadeath on something like that. If, and therefore I won't, if the game was stable. I just don't trust Massive. I just have never trusted Massive. The amount of disconnects and glitches we had playing that game back in the day. I couldn't risk it, dude. I just could. I don't mind permadeath. If I die on permadeath in a game like that, you know, you take it, you swallow the bitter pill, you man up, you nut up, and you crack on, don't you? But the amount of times we died, or I died, or someone else in the team died because they locked up, got stuck on something, froze, guns wouldn't work, couldn't reload, couldn't aim down sights, guns vanished literally from in front of your hands. You know, 1 minute you're aiming a gun like that, and the next minute you just holding your fucking dick in the air. I would totally do it if I trusted it, mate. You got the real one. Oh no, Toofy, that's it, mate. You got the man lurgy. You're screwed, bro. Well, I hope you better soon, mate. I'm sorry to hear that, fella. What have we got down here? Oh, a 3-star. I don't think I actually need anything because my it's all full up. But we'll take it back just to top it off. How you doing, Rosie? How's things your way, mate? Yeah, I don't mind dying in permadeath. That's the whole point in playing, isn't it? If there's no risk of dying, then there's no point playing permadeath. It's why I don't like permadeath. 7 days. I mean, if you know that game, you ain't never going to die anyway, which just forces you to play overly cautiously, which just makes it a really boring playthrough. But for me, I mean, I'm sure other people love it, but and it's not my bag. But in something like The Division, because it is a fucking hard game. That's one of the things I really liked about The Division. The amount of times we got over cocky as a team and just got mowed down in some of that content. It was unbelievable. You know, you really had to be on the ball, man. And I don't know what the game's like now. I don't know what actually... I mean, all I know is about the upcoming changes. I don't know about the already implemented changes. So you couldn't game much today. Your right arm's been killing you. What is that? How come, Rosie? What's that? You're not falling out of a tree like Valiant. How's your knee, Valiant? Are you okay, sir? So are you playing Division 2 quite a lot then, Hashi? And is the permadeath mode one that's already active, or is that something we're going to wait for as part of the February update? Take care, Yeti. Have a lovely day, fella. Have a lovely day. Yeah, the old Godway race through the... Yeah, I remember watching some YouTubers that caught some really nice footage of that. I mean, there was the sort of really well-known one. I can't remember the YouTube, wasn't it? And he I can't remember, it was part of his piss tape of Fallout 76, wasn't it? But there were loads of other content creators that caught the same thing. And yeah, the God Rays were actually coming through the scenery, weren't they? So for those of you that haven't seen it, you know, you'd be watching the sun go down behind the cliff there. And when it was down here, like literally on the other side of the freaking world, you can still see the God Rays, you know, coming through the rock face. Oh, it's so bad. So permadeath's already in, is it really? Wow. See, I'd love to play permadeath in a game like that. I mean, I never know. You know, I might play it, and maybe it's a lot more stable. I mean, I can only talk about, you know, my experience beforehand. You know, maybe the Division's super stable. It's like I said, my crash yesterday. I nearly always have my first boot up crash, you know, post install because of the do you play? Heads up this one. Might as well give him that, even if it's a waste. It's keeps him mega max, doesn't it? Hey, dude, it's out. Oh, Jesus. That sounds awful, Rosie. Jesus, mate. Well, I hope you're alright. Do you think you're alright then, Valiant? I was going to say, it's going to take a while. So it sounds like you took a right beating, mate. I suppose you can't expect to just bounce back in 24 hours, mate, falling out of a bloody tree. Lucky you didn't hurt yourself more than you did, mate. Good morning, Critic. How you doing, bro? Good morning, Shorty. How are you doing? How's the wonderful Jax? Oh gosh, excuse me. So your right arm's already destroyed. Well, that sounds terrible, Rosie. So it actually is. Like basically like. So how did you hurt it this time, Rosie? I mean, do you have to be like super careful so you don't get these injuries, and just sometimes, you know, the fates conspire against you and you end up with a bit of a bad run of it or something? Sounds really scary, mate. What you watched, Gritak? Watched anything good, dude? Anything I can watch at the weekend? I'm trying to think what's actually out and about at the minute. I know Zombieland 2, I think, is out and about on DVD or Blu-ray in the UK, is it not? Or is imminent? Is that right? I mean, it might have been out a while back, actually. Can't remember. I got a bit mixed up with my DVD and Blu-ray release dates recently. It all became a bit of a bizarre mismatch. What one of our friends has always imported. So sometimes I think it's a UK release, whereas in fact it's not. It's because he imports his Blu-rays, you see. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Zombieland 2 is going to be watched fairly soon. Quite looking forward to that. You're right, Mr. Marked Out. I got killed like in the first 3 seconds, even though I was evidently AFK by some asshat. The absolute asshat. You up to anything today, Shades? You got anything nice on for the weekend? I got everything wrong, by the way, and I thought I did last weekend. Because we're giving Joe a lift again tomorrow to the basketball match. So it's tomorrow and not Sunday. So the chances are I won't be able to stream normal time tomorrow. Because we have got tickets to a pretty cool match. So I'm afraid stream tomorrow is not going to be normal. I'm not going to do a 6-star on my own. Fuck that for a game of soldiers. Yeah, because I thought originally it was Sunday, didn't I? But it's the 18th, not the 19th is the match. So yeah, I probably won't be around normal time tomorrow because got a lot to do anyway, and then need to go and see my dad before obviously the match and everything, then get over to the match because it's not here. The new Jane Silent Bob. Is this like the new Clarks, or is this something completely different? Or Clerks, or whatever they call it. Oh, jeez, that sounds terrible, Rosie. Does that mean like you're in permanent pain? Or is it more just a complete loss of power and strength and, you know, flexibility? I mean, that sounds painful to me, mate. The Last Witch Hunter with Van Diesel. I do enjoy it from time. The Last Witch, isn't that quite an old one? That's quite old, right? The Last Witch Hunter. That's an alright film, that is. To be honest, mate, I like most films with Van Diesel, as long as he's not being too Shakespearean in his general theatrics. I think sometimes he does think he's a bit of a better. He should stick to what he knows. But punching people in the face, basically. He's never going to be the greatest thespian actor, is he? Let's be honest. Yeah, Cyberpunk delayed. If anyone in chat is even remotely surprised that Cyberpunk's delayed, then I'd give up all hope for gamers. It was always going to... There was no way they were going to release on April. Or in April. It was April 16th. I mean, we are in January, right? We are in January, yeah? And we haven't heard a fucking whistle, not so much as a screenshot since the last little flood of information. There was no way that was releasing in April. Not in a million fucking years, mate. It'll release, you know, it wouldn't even surprise me if it gets delayed again. It really wouldn't surprise me. They'll have had a look at the release schedule. They'll have set that date in September, I think it is, haven't they? And what will be, will be. You know, around that time, we've got the next generation of consoles coming out. So, you know, the gaming hype's going to be rampant. You know, everything's falling into place for them. It's they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Doesn't look like he. Oh, he is. He's actually. I mean, I better get a wriggle on. He's freaking miles away. Yeah, that's actually very true. Actually, there's a good analogy that is, to be honest, Michael. It is. Van Diesel pretty much just plays Van Diesel, really, doesn't he? I love his films though. There's a lot of Van Diesel. I've never been a big fan of Too Fast, Too Furious, or the Fast and the Furious, whatever the hell they're called these days. I just find his character really bland and boring in it. You know, I love a good car chase and all the rest of it, but I kind of just like, there's just too many of them, and I kind of lost track, and it all felt a bit silly and just cashing in on a franchise. And then obviously with everything that happened with Paul Walker and all the rest of it, I just kind of lost interest in Fast and the Furious. But I think I've seen most of David Van Diesel's film. I still, you know, the one you've watched, Kritark, Last Witch Hunter, etc. You know, it's an alright film, isn't it? Perfectly watchable. Pitch Black, stuff like that. You know, really liked it. Absolutely love those. So still love watching Pitch Black. Fantastic film. Oh wow, that's awful, Rosie. That's awful, mate. Yeah. Came out somewhere around 2000. I could say it's quite old, isn't it? Yeah. It'll be fine, Dyke. Everything they said, I have absolutely no doubts about. You gotta, I mean, again, people are forgetting, right? There are only two, in my opinion, and then we'll see how this works out for CD Projekt Red, because I haven't quite got my seal of approval on this comment yet. There are really only two independent game studios out there that essentially can do the unthinkable, and that is genuinely, you know, when game studios say it'll release when it releases, you know, it'll release when it's ready. No game studio can truly adhere to that. You know, you're bleeding cash. You know, development costs have to be kept in check. You know, there's very few studios that can pull that off. Different with crowdfunding, you know, look at something like 7 Days, you know, where you know, been in alpha for 7 years and all the rest of it, but you know, they are very lucky to be in the position they are, but it's also because they've made a very good game. The only companies that can really get away with what's going on here is Rockstar. So, you know, the GTA mines, you know, the Red Dead mines, you know, their games are almost, and I do include the word almost, because you never know, you know, you just never know what, you know, there's always a bit of uncertainty in the world. But for all intents and purposes, you could argue they are guaranteed to make a lot of money. Their games, you know, if GTA 6 releases, when it releases, it is going to make an absolute shit ton of money. And they can afford to release, you know, if it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer. And it's really not going to dent those profit margins anywhere near as much as it would another company. And I think the only other developer right now that can get away with that, honestly, is... can't believe that's missing. Is CD Projekt Red. They're not completely dependent on their games, because obviously they do have...
What the hell?
They do have good old games, so they have got alternative revenue. They have a phenomenally successful franchise which continues to make money in the same vein that GTA, for example, GTA 5 and all the other GTAs do. Pick up the target. Which one is it? Is it the one? It's normally the one on the passenger side, isn't it? Which is presumably in. So yeah, so sorry, I'm slightly sidetracked, but yes, my point being that CD Projekt Red, them delaying a game means nothing. It really doesn't. They're not going to be worried about it. We're not going to be worried about it. It just means, you know, the game is huge. Exactly what they said on the tin. You know, I firmly believe their statement. They're not trying to come up with a public PR stunt. Exactly what it says on the tin. The freaking world is so complicated. It's so massive. It's so unlike anything else we've ever done. We just want to make sure it works, you know? Can't argue that. Just can't argue it. Really can't. For you, you'd love to see more Pitch Black Reddit movies. They would, yeah, it's so good. The old polished eyeballs, mate. You want to watch Car Chases, you watch Dukes of Hazzard. Didn't they do a remake of Dukes of Hazzard? For you, Van Diesel is Vin Diesel. I always call him Van Diesel, always have been. Van and Diesel. Bit of a piss take, but never mind. Vin Diesel is a lot like Tom Cruise of The Rock. Oh, hang on. There goes the phone. I wonder if this is Virgin Media. Could be, could be. That's interesting. That is actually the network engineer. Now, he hasn't said he's coming around here now. He said that he is the senior network engineer for this city, and he's been asked to come out to look at the node that I am connected to, and he's going to be carrying out some work on it this morning. And then he will be with the property, so he'll come and see me hopefully no more than an hour from now. But that's interesting. So that makes me... the way it sounded, it makes it sound like they may have found a problem. And whether or not that means the internet's going to go down, of course. Who knows, right? But that's interesting, right? So at some point, we'll be getting a knock on the door. So we'll have to turn the stream off, I'm afraid. You alright, James? How you doing, mate? How's things? Yeah, exactly, Rosie. Anyone that's cancelling Cyberpunk now, they're kidding themselves, mate. I mean, they might cancel it now. You know, I don't know if the money's already been taken. I mean, so sometimes you hand over the money early. Depends on who you go with, doesn't it? You hand over the money and the money's out of your bank account. I mean, some people might be thinking, shit, I could do with that money now. And, you know, I'll just, you know, put another pre-order down later on. It's not going to bite into sales. It's going to have no impact whatsoever. It'll sell gangbusters when it comes out. And, you know, hopefully it will be the better game. I don't even see it as a delay. Like I said, there was no fucking way that was releasing in April. Not in a million freaking years, mate. It is what it is. At some point, they have to set a date to get the hype, you know, started. And, you know, it's another 6+ months, whatever it is. It'll be fine. We'll get a cracking game out of it. Then it's delayed until next gen consoles. Yeah, but it won't release on next gen consoles. I saw this discussion on what was it, NeoGAF. I think people are thinking, oh, they're delaying it because they're only going to release it on next gen consoles. No way, not in a million years. The next gen console install base at time of release of Cyberpunk won't be anywhere near big enough. They will absolutely release on current gen consoles because of the install base. What I think we will almost certainly see is that see, it depends on how Cyberpunk play it. They've got one or two ways of playing this. Obviously, they are going to be releasing literally on the doorstep of possibly the greatest console generation in terms of raw power that we have ever seen. I mean, the jump from the Xbox 360s, PlayStation 3s through to the current gen was absolutely unfathomable. We were going from like 512 megabyte of onboard RAM, and that was shared system RAM, the whole freaking lot, to like 8 gigabytes of DDR fucking 5 RAM. I mean, that was like unprecedented. No fucker saw that coming. This time around, we finally get the missing piece of the puzzle, which is the CPU. It's been the CPU. You know, we've had the GPUs. Look at the Xbox One X. Fantastic GPU in there. Fantastic RAM. You know, brilliant RAM. We just never had the CPU. So, what will happen with CD Projekt Red? One or two things. And I think they will play the money game. I think they'd be mad not to. We will see a release of Cyberpunk in September, October. You know, I wouldn't surprise me to get another small delay on it. And it will release on current generation consoles. And I should say within about 12 months, we will get what is essentially a remastered version on the new generation of consoles, which will be another purchase. However, I have to say, CD Projekt Red are alluring to themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if good faith and to keep that very, very robust customer relations so vibrant, alive and positive, that they don't allow already existing owners to have a free update. And it will just simply be a digital download for already existing owners of the PlayStation 4 Pro versions. And we'll see improved frame rates, higher resolution potentially. I think it's going to run at 34K anyway, to be honest, I would have thought. Oh, sorry, did I say 30 at 4K? 30 at 1080, sorry. I'd be very surprised. On the Pro and the Xbox X, I mean... Would I don't know. I mean, it's a big game, so I think memory requirements probably restrict it to 30 1080. I'd like to think we'll get a locked 30 1080 on the Pro and the Xbox. Well, let's put it this way. Certainly on the Xbox One X, I think we'll get a locked 1080 30. I'd be very surprised if we don't, personally. Shorty, thank you for the gifted sub to Gaz. I didn't even know Gaz was in chat. Hello, Gaz. I'm still catching up here, Gaz. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you very much, Shorty. Good morning, James. Good morning. So either they have found a problem or they tried to make sure they're at home when the hitmen arrive. What's that? What's this about the hitmen? You're right, Wookie. You don't see any problem with delaying the game to make it a better release? Yeah. It's such a huge game. I mean, we know it's going to be... I mean, even from the footage we've already seen, we know it's crazy content. Yeah. Yeah, like what, Spitters? What are you looking forward to in April? Shorty, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Thank you very much, mate. You're an absolute angel. Thank you. It's already been a few years in release. What's a few extra months to make sure it's polished? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, mate. Like I said, there was no way it wasn't going to get a delay. I was surprised at the length of the delay. But I should imagine a lot of that is looking at release windows anyway. I mean, again, you know, going back to what I was saying earlier, there's probably only 2 companies on this planet right now that don't give a fuck about release windows. They don't care about the competition. You know, we've always had that October, November heavy sort of payload of games from the big, you know, the big blockbusters. You know, those first-person shooters. You know, that's standard industry. That is for release window around that time. Assassin's Creed, you know, the big Ubisoft games, you know, it's that pre-holiday season hype, isn't it? Get those high-pitched sales in at top wax with small price reductions going into the holiday. You know, it's a lovely way to extend sales longevity around that October, November period. But you know, I'm sure CD Projekt Red probably don't want to release, but you know, the June, July window's always been a bit dodgy for gaming. So they've probably just sat back and just says, look, you know, let's go for that. You know, let's get on the hype. I mean, just the whole industry is going to be buzzing this year around that time. They couldn't have played this any better. You know, a new generation of consoles, like I said, potentially one of the greatest leaps we've ever seen in you know, non-PC gaming hardware-wise. You know, it's phenomenal, the specs that we're looking at for next generation. You know, there's going to be, you know, Sony aren't going to E3. We're going to have our own Sony equivalents of Nintendo Directs. We're going to have all those first-party games releasing. There's got to be some big day one releases. There's going to be some great... Ah, shit, who's this? I think I'll get that later because I'm not in the mood. Yeah, I think it's I think it works for them. I think this is going to be amazing. Did you like our insightful input into your shitty computer game, Gaz? I think I had a little weird sort of sort of lucid dream yesterday, Gaz, about the release of... it actually made me want to go back and play it, thinking that maybe the game was going to release this year, dude. I thought I might take a last little look at either Ravenhurst or go back and set up a server. Just, I'm quite excited to see it. I'm really excited to see where they go, Gaz. I'm quite excited to see what you do, Gaz, to be honest, mate. I'd love to know what the future holds for you gaming-wise, bro. You got some answers yesterday. Still can't eat yet, but no good karma and all that. So are you getting info then, Shorty? Do you think you kind of like on the road to actually getting a resolution, or at least a foot in the right direction on the health front? Or
Your father must have been a fine hunter. Taught you well.
some for association. Did you see the news that said, I did? Yeah, I spoke about this. I said there was a rumor, didn't I, about 3 months ago? And I said I think I was speaking to Rev. I think it was back in November, wasn't it, when I'd first caught wind of this. In fact, between you and I, there's a few more going to be coming down the pipeline, quite likely. So yes, Sony are definitely looking at expanding their sales portfolio, which makes sense. It totally makes sense. It's a nice way to almost combat, I guess, what Xbox are doing, or the Xbox game division are doing, in terms of embracing that kind of dual stream of console and PC. So no surprise. I mean, it's not officially confirmed, but I think we kind of knew in November pretty much everything was signed, sealed, and delivered. I think it'll probably run through Epic, won't it? I should imagine that was the only stumbling block rather than through Steam. But who knows? Who knows how much money's being exchanged there? I should imagine Sony have been approached very much on that front. We also know the Decima engine has always been very, very, very PC compliant. And it's one of the reasons that Hideo Kojima chose the Decima engine from Guerrilla Games to do Death Stranding. Because he's always, Hideo's games always, within reason, and obviously especially with the development of the Fox engine, have always been designed for PC release. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me the slightest. We'll get absolute confirmation of that at some point. The Last of Us 2 is in April. Have we had a delay on that yet? I can't remember if we've already had a delay on The Last of Us. It wouldn't surprise me if we get one on that as well, to be honest, mate. Fun Pimp certainly has plans, but I'm not the one announcing them. Yeah, be an interesting year for you all, Gaz. I mean, I wish you all the very best, mate. I really do. It's been a long road, Gaz. It's been a long road, mate. We'll see. Right. Let's grab another bounty. Let's go for, it's tricky getting two of them, isn't there? Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm more interested in seeing what else they look at for PC releases. I mean, obviously not all games are created equal for that. But I think, isn't it 505 Studios are doing the... Because it's not actually Guerrilla doing the port, is it? I'm sure. Don't Sony normally use like 505 or someone like that for if you like further development on their games? I'm sure it's a studio like that, isn't it? Someone like that anyway. James and Marion, what are you like? I quite like that one actually. A New Dawn for Sony. I like that. You put some real thought into that, didn't you? See, the beauty of that is, I kept saying that I was going to wait to play Horizon Zero Dawn through to fruition, because I reckon we'd get a PlayStation 5 remaster. You see, so I was thinking, well, I might as well wait and play it in all its mega glory. But if it comes on PC, and as long as my PC at that point of release is still up there, and especially if it releases before PlayStation 5. See, the thing is, what we don't know, I mean, it would make a lot more sense for Sony to release a remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn on their PlayStation 5 and actually have that ready for play on day one. Now, that's a relatively easy win for them to expand their day one library of games for the PlayStation 5 release window. And then release on PC, if you like, a little while after that. I mean, who knows? Who knows how they're going to play it, but we'll see. Yeah, it's I don't know, guys. I jumped. I can't remember who it was. I jumped onto a gentleman's stream earlier. First time I've jumped into a 7-day stream for months and months and months and months, mate. Because I tend not to watch 7-day streams when I'm playing anyway. But I don't like the way he's just got off his. we'll get around the corner. I can just imagine a rolling block rifle coming out of his infinite satchel of goodies there, to be honest. But yes, it's yeah, I can't remember the name of the guy that I jumped onto. He was playing a multiplayer 7 days. But yeah, yeah, it'd be nice to go back at some point. Obviously, you know, if we're going to be getting like the Alpha 19 or the Beta or whatever it's going to be coming out, just wave farewell to it in many ways. Because I don't think a lot's going to change, is it? I mean, again, guys, I mean, this is just whistling in the wind, really, like we always are. We've got no idea what's going on behind closed doors. Let's be honest, you've thrown us many curveballs over the years. But I can't imagine that much changing now. Like I said, you know, hopefully some new POIs and some tightening up of the questing, general polish, and you know we know we've got new assets coming in, and you know the localizations all being done. You know, it all feels like a package being wrapped up neatly for gold release, doesn't it? Exciting times, man. Exciting times. It'd be not nice closure on you know a game that's been such a huge part of my daily adventures, I'll tell you. Shorty, again, thank you very, very much, my friend. Thank you ever so much for the gifted sub, mate. And I hope all is well. Sounds like you've got a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, Shorty. You think things are really good? Really, Wookie? Ah, right, okay. And in what way? In what way? So you're on the flip side of the coin to me then. See, to me it feels like Alpha 18 is kind of like the foundation. You know, that's the building blocks now. And, you know, we'll see a few new coloured blocks and maybe some blocks of a few new shapes and sizes. And I'm not actually talking about literal blocks in the game. It feels to me like that's it. What are you expecting then, Wookie? I can't. The only thing I can think of that still overhangs them. The only thing that, you know, if I was to say, so, you know, all the years I've been involved in 7 days and playing it and all the rest of it, the any sort of elephant in the room, the stinky smell in the corner, that I personally couldn't give a fuck about, because I really don't think people quite dig what they you know, getting themselves into when we talk about bandits. That's the only missing piece of the jigsaw to me, and I just, you know, whether or not it happens, who knows, but I really don't care if it happens or not. You know, if it does, great, as long as it's, you know, a really nice implementation. If it doesn't, I really couldn't give a toss. But that's the only thing that I can really think of. I mean, all the other mechanics and everything seem to be, you know, I'm not saying they're there yet, but it's only a case of polishing rather than a complete rework, which is what I felt Alpha 17 to 18 was. I suppose you have a much more insight in the code. If you picked up on a few things in the code, Wookie, that kind of make you think, ooh, you know, that's got to be that's got to be a tip of the hat in something to come kind of thing. Oh, thank you very much, Gritat. Thank you for the gifted subs of 9 months, Mario. You get your Grabodian love child, my friend. Thank you very much, Gritat. Thank you very, very much indeed, bro. You're a star, mate. Really, Wookie? Ah, you see, I just felt like 18 was kind of it. I just thought like 18 is finally their baseline, you know?